Dent was the reason I got my first sale. Just completely unlocked how to do one-to-one business with B2B.
Dan, thanks for being here. Tell me a bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, and the sort of mission that you're on.
Hi, I'm Dan Sherrard-Smith. I'm the founder and CEO of MotherTree, and our mission is to make it really easy for values-led businesses and their employees to reduce carbon and save money. We focus on pension, banks, and bills. Before this, I was on the founding team and look after my bills with the best ever deal on Dragon's Den. We saved the British public £127 million in 3 years through switching them to better energy deals. And our goal at MotherTree is to get £1 billion into the green economy by 2025. And to that end, we've already reviewed and represent over £290 million on behalf of our clients.
Wow. All right, cool. I've got so many follow-up questions. I'm going to scrap my structure. So Dragon's Den, saving the British. Wow, that's so cool. Okay, so tell me a bit about Dragon's Den.
We ran a company called The Big Deal. And in July 2017, I started building Look After My Bills. And in 6 months, we flipped the old company, The Big Deal, into Look After My Bills. We were Y Combinator backed in January 2018. And then the original two founders of The Big Deal applied for Dragon's Den, and we got on. All 5 dragons bid for the business 3 times each, which you don't always get in the edit. I think they cut a few of those offers out. And yeah, we got 2 great dragons. It was kind of crazy. So we went from 10,000 customers to 50,000 customers overnight. Like, they showed it on the Sunday night on BBC. And then on the Monday, and we were all there in the office for pizza and stuff, watching it, and you could see the impact on Google Analytics. And then on the Monday in the office, it was just non-stop phones, everybody on the phones for about 3 months, just dealing with all of these new customers. So it was an amazing sort of spike, and then a long tail of making sure the customer service didn't get damaged as a result, because it was way better result than we thought we were going to get.
Yeah, how did you guys cope? Sort of, I mean, I'm terrible with maths, but what is that like? Gazillioning your business, it's completely exploding. How did you guys cope with that? Did you have to quickly find team?
Yeah, we did. So we were expecting to go from about 10,000 to 30,000 customers overnight, and we 5x'd. So we got to 50,000, and we were on 100,000 customers by the end of that year. So within about 4 months of it showing, we'd 10x'd. And it almost overwhelmed the business, that pace of growth. So we were really in we need to get bums on seats quickly. We're quite lucky. What a brilliant customer service agency reached out. I think they knew what was going on. So we had a very good partnership with them to grow, and it allowed us to be quite flexible with the team that we used as well. But it was a struggle for 3 months, that growth period. And then when we got through that, we suddenly had this amazing foundation, and we were by then pretty much a household name in the UK. So it just really established the business in a way when we just definitely wouldn't have got if we hadn't got onto Dragon's Den.
Yeah, incredible. Having that level of, I suppose, that profile piece to use the 5 Ps to really, I suppose, just get eyes on what you do. And it's clearly a brilliant idea and a no-brainer for them to invest in.
Yeah, it was. I think it was one of those classic right time, right place products. People knew. People in the UK, people switch their energy every few years, but if you don't switch, your price goes up. It's kind of like a loyalty tax. So we built a system which effectively, when your energy went up, we automatically switched you to a better deal. And I think the UK public they kind of got it in a way that if we'd been a few years earlier, price comparison sites weren't as established, and a few years later, the energy market fell apart because Putin invaded Ukraine, and prices spiked, but we'd sold by then. We were very lucky.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, do you guys want to come and set up here in New Zealand? But it sounds like you're no longer, I was like, we need that. Oh, brilliant. And so tell me about the sort of conception of, I suppose, tell me about the journey and your shift into MotherTree and sort of how that worked.
Yes, we sold Look After My Bills in July 2020, I want to say. That might have been 2019. And my wife was pregnant while working for this for the new company. We were still working at Look After My Bills, but under this new ownership. And my wife was pregnant, and it just really made me question where I was spending my time and what the world was going to be like when this child was in their 30s, so when they were my age. And it really made me think, 2050, 2055 kind of perspective, and just wake up to what we're doing to the planet. And there's a bit of a kind of origin story within that as well, in the sense of it also just made me think back to my own childhood. I grew up in Swansea, South Wales, and it's by this beautiful beach, golden sand, dramatic cliffs. Just fell in love with that place. And I remember sitting in a geography lesson at 12 years old and hearing about climate change for the first time and realizing without dramatic change, we'd lose this beautiful part of the world within my lifetime. And I didn't know what to do about it then, just sitting in the geography class. But when my wife was pregnant, that thought came back really strongly. And it's kind of combination of my childhood and thinking what the childhood's going to be like for this new child meant I'd quit Look After My Bills, quit this comfortable job that we built into an 8-figure revenue business in 3 years. And I just started researching what has become MotherTree. I started talking to founders, CEOs, sustainability experts, mums and dads, and people in their 20s just starting their careers, just to get a sense of how climate change impacts their life or doesn't impact their life. And then actually my wife came up with the idea of something called the Climate Challenge, which was 30 challenges over 30 days for groups of about 8 people at a time. So we could really observe what people did, what they didn't do, what they talked about in a group, what were the things that were particularly hard to do. And we did all sorts of challenges. We went vegan for the day. We got rid of single-use plastic. We looked at our carbon footprints. And we ran these groups. We ran 5 of these groups over 5 months. And through the first group, I was part of it. I was one of the participants. And 2 of the challenges really stood out. It was where our pensions were invested and where our banks were investing. And my pension, I looked as part of this challenge. 2% of my pension was in oil and gas, BP and Shell. 1% was in British American tobacco. 1% was in weapons. There was money in gambling. It's just things that I'd never choose to invest in. And yet every month, some of my cash had been going there. And then I looked at Look After My Bills bank account, and they were with Lloyds, and Lloyds had put over £1 billion a year into fossil fuels since 2016. So it was just a real wake-up call. This is one of the biggest levers we have as a society, and there's such little awareness around each citizen who has a bank account or a pension, which is pretty much everybody in the global north, can have an impact in terms of what our world's going to be like in the next 30 years.
And how do you, because so many people, terrified of climate change, understand that it's a problem and will maybe do Vegetarian Monday, and that's about as far as it goes. So what sort of drives you to start these businesses with impact at the start, at the heart of it? And what sort of keeps driving you through challenges? Because I imagine it's bloody hard to set up business. Tell me a bit about how you sort of take those ideas and get them out there to really change things.
This was something transformational that I went through with Dent, which was hearing from Daniel and the other mentors about testing the market, not the mind, and sell first, build later. So as a sort of default, I'm a product guy. I like to build stuff and test it. And that's okay, but actually it's too slow. And what I really enjoyed through Dent was discovering this amazing sell first, build later. And what we were able to do is put the social mission right at the heart of everything that we do, but we were able to get it in front of people so much quicker than I was previously as a founder. So that really kind of accelerated the MotherTree journey on that side. Tell me the question again.
The question was sort of how you maintain, I suppose, motivation to. Well, starting a business is so hard anyway. There's so many challenges, and also to have this big mission where you have to change people's minds and motivate them and inspire them. Does that drive you and make it easier, or how do you keep going? I suppose I just am curious about that.
I love what I do. I love startups. I love solving big questions with very few sort of politics and people involved in terms of that creation stage. It's a small team. And so just from a business perspective, I just really enjoy that stage of a business. from a mission perspective, I've known for about 10 years that if it's just about making money, it's not enough. And if I wanted to just make money, I could work in a corporate environment and just take home the paycheck. And I did that in my early 20s, and I was incredibly bored. And what I really love is being part of solving huge questions to society, but that have a genuine impact beyond making money. And it's when I combine those two things that really keeps me motivated.
And do you think that resonates? Do you think that sort of, I mean, to your point where you said by default you're a product guy, but it sounds like you've utilized pitch and publish to really test things and sort of nurture and garner an audience. You find that it's much easier to build and cultivate an audience if you have a mission-led business. Do you think customers are now responding in ways? Because I know certainly that I would prefer to invest my money or pick a product that I know is not going to be dramatically damaging.
It's been so much easier to grow a product through a mission-driven approach, both from raising money for MotherTree and then also to grow a following, to grow an audience base. So from a raising money perspective, we went out with MotherTree with just an idea to angel investors, and we raised over £300,000 within 6 weeks of those conversations. And it's a combination of what we've done before, plus adding in this social mission. And angel investors lots of angel investors love to get behind that. Climate tech is one of the most invested areas at the moment from VCs and angel investors. And so it's just this kind of really beautiful combination of there is a mission behind a business, but crucially a social mission. And then also in growing an audience base from a customer perspective, especially on LinkedIn, we found that it's just such a wonderful ecosystem of businesses who want to do good in the world and to connect and to figure out how to, build a stronger ecosystem. And that does really well for all of those businesses that are within that kind of sustainability sphere. There's far less competition and far more cooperation, and it's been much more fun to grow in that space.
That's interesting. Of course, that you're right. There is far less competition, and it's woefully. I'm sure. Hopefully, that'll change over.
What I mean is look, there's lots of amazing businesses in the sustainability space, but they also are very happy to help each other, me included. It's because the goal is the same. We have to get off this crazy train that we're on to climate disaster, and we can do that. We can change course, but all of the businesses who actually within that mission know that. So there's far less egos involved, and there's far less land grabbing. There's more of an abundance mindset. It's like we're all in this together. We can figure this out, but we have to do that together. So
coming at it from a perspective of partnerships, really, it sounds like.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. I mean, I think that's such a beautiful, I've certainly got an arc there, but is there, I mean, how old is MotherTree, and are there any metrics that you can point to in terms of any growth over the past, year or so, or however long you've been involved with Dent?
Yes, so MotherTree is 2 years, 1 month old. We launched in March 2 years ago. I've been on Dent courses for about 2 years. Dent was the reason I got my first sale during the Thomas Forquer mentor program. He did the sales part of Chaos and just completely unlocked how to do one-to-one business with B2B. My background's B2C and sort of mass market. So it was fundamental in how we started to bring in regular revenue to MotherTree. In terms of the impacts and putting together the offer, so Seb Bates was incredibly helpful on the offer side of things, and that's also helped us then communicate the work that we're doing. So we've now brought in customers like Go Cardless, Bloomsbury Publishing. Go Cardless put £30 billion through their bank every year, or their banks. They have 11 banks. And what it's meant is we've had huge impacts because we've started to move that money away from high investing in fossil fuel banks towards banks that refuse to invest in fossil fuels. That's to the tune of billions of pounds moving from banks that are putting billions into fossil fuels to zero money. into fossil fuels, it's a huge impact. And we now have evaluated and we represent well over £290 million on behalf of those clients.
Wow. I have to keep quiet in this so that my face doesn't pop up, but I just want to be like clapping and cheering the whole time. That's awesome. That's awesome. You're awesome and your company's awesome. I think that's such a cool story, such a cool arc, and you've really gone in depth.
Great. Edith, thank you so much.